Welcome back to my channel and welcome to episode 2 of my new series, A New Beginning, in which I try to give you some information so that you can make an informed decision about whether you might need to relocate to Europe. There are a few important things I want to talk about concerning visas, and the first most important thing you need to understand that is, as an American, you do not need a visa to enter Europe right now. Now, when I say Europe, I'm of course talking about the Schengen area. And I need to clarify something from my last video. The countries that you see in blue and purple are the ones that you can move around very freely. In the other countries like Ireland, the UK, Bulgaria, those countries are not part of the Schengen, so coming into the UK is not going to get you into Europe per se. You're going to have to come into one of those countries that's blue or purple. Now, having said that, once you land on European soil, anywhere in the Schengen area, you are good for 90 days. As an American, as a Canadian, as an Australian, you do not need any kind of visa to get here. Now, that is true through 2019 and through 2020. However, in 2021, Europe is going to institute a new system called the ETIAS, E-T-I-A-S, the European Travel Information and Authorization System. Now, that is not going to be per se a visa, but it is something you're going to have before you come to Europe. What you will do is you'll go online, you'll answer some questions, they'll do a quick background check on you, so to speak, and they will instantly either issue you approval to come to Europe or deny you. You'll do this right on the computer. You do not need to go to the consulate, you do not need to go to the embassy. Now, if you are denied, you will have the right to appeal, in which case a human being is going to contact you within 4 to 14 days to listen to your appeal or explain why they're going to stand by the denial. Now, it's very important to note that when this system goes online, one of the things they're going to be checking is your criminal history. The criminal history that Europe will be checking will be provided by Canada, will be provided by the United States or Australia or what have you. That's important because at that point, you can bet that the Americans are going to flag certain kinds of files, certain kinds of cases. Now, I wouldn't panic as of yet. Just because you have a criminal record does not mean Europe's not going to let you in. Europe has a very different view, as I've said repeatedly in my videos, of criminal history than the United States has or Canada. And having a criminal record is not going to be an automatic bar. Now, what will that mean? Which crimes will constitute a reason to stay out of Europe? I don't know. Nobody can give me any guidance on that. I've spoken to a few people in the Foreign Office and I've searched the internet and I have not come up with any answers. Now, I also said that this system's going to go online in 2021. Fact of the matter is I don't know exactly what date. I've checked the websites. Again, I've spoken to people in the Foreign Office and so far nobody can give me an answer as to what exact date it's going to begin. But to repeat myself, through 2019 and all of 2020, you still won't need that authorization, so you can just come right over. Now, because you don't need a visa to land in Europe, you don't have to apply for it ahead of time. You can apply for visas while you're in Europe. For instance, let's say you come here for 90 days to check out the scene and you really like it and you want to stay. Then you're going to have a permit to stay. You're going to have a visa. Not as difficult as it sounds. Now, before I get started, let me tell you that there are so many different types of visas for staying here in Europe that I'm not even going to attempt to list them all. I'm not even going to try to explain them all. There's just too many. But you can go back to the website that I keep referring to and check for yourself and look at all the different types of visas that you have. If you're wondering what my eyes are doing, I'm looking at a whole bunch of policemen walking back there. A whole bunch of policemen, but they're doing what German police do. They're kind of minding their own business and just walking. But that's a lot of cops. Anyways, they're not looking for me. They're not looking for you, so oh well. But getting a visa is not the end of the world by a long shot. Let me give you an example. Let's say you want to stay here. The first thing you're absolutely going to have is a job. You're going to have to be able to support yourself. So what you would do is you would walk into a company and you'd say, hey, I'd like to work for you. Can you give me a job, or will you offer me a job? And let's say you work it out with this company and they issue you a contract. Now, every job in Germany has a contract. Repeat myself. Every job in Germany has a contract. Doesn't matter where you work, who you work for, or what you do, you get a contract. It's part of German law. You will then take that contract to a place called the Agentur für Arbeit, which is like the official workplace of Germany, where they issue the work permits. You will show them this contract. You will explain why, as an American, why you are uniquely qualified to fill this job, and they're going to issue you the work permit. It's really not that complicated. As an employer, as a manager for a company, I have hired people from Sri Lanka who did not have work permits yet. I have hired people from Pakistan. In fact, I just promoted a man from Pakistan to management. And I just recently hired an American woman. So it's not difficult to get that contract. Now, let me emphasize that you don't have to speak German to get a job here. Believe it or not, it's considered a highly sought after skill to be able to speak English like a native speaker. That's going to be more important to them than your inability to speak German. Me personally, when I first got to Germany, I lived for a few months in Hamburg, and all my friends wanted to speak to me in English, and I didn't learn much German. But after I transferred down here to Stuttgart and got a job and had to speak German, I picked it up faster than you could ever pick it up in a classroom. I learned German so quickly that here I am, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 months later, and I am conversationally fluent. I can talk to almost anybody about almost anything in German. Give me another 6 months, I will be completely fluent. It's not difficult, it's that easy. So don't let language or your inability to speak that language be a hindrance. Now that's going to be true whether you land in France, Norway, Sweden, Poland, Czech Republic, I don't care. Speaking English is more important than knowing the native language. You can learn that later, people understand that. Now, once you have that work permit, you then need to get an apartment with a lease and your name on that lease. Once you have your name on that lease with your work permit, you will then go to one of the city offices called the Ausländerbehörde, which is the immigration or foreign office, and you will then register yourself as a citizen, or resident, not citizen, excuse me, as a resident of Stuttgart, and they will issue you a document called the Meldebestätigung. The Meldebestätigung is your confirmation that you permanently reside here in Stuttgart. Once you have that Meldebestätigung, once you have the Arbeitserlaubnis, which is the work permit, you get those two things, you can stay. You're good. You're not going to have a problem. And believe it or not, it really is that simple. Now, of course, when I got here to Stuttgart and I had to find a place to live and I had to find a job and this, that, and the other, I had nobody really to guide me. And it was tortuous. It was really difficult. Thankfully, I now know the system. Thankfully, I know exactly which offices to go to, exactly which people to speak to, exactly what procedures to follow. So now it's a whole lot easier for me. It wouldn't pose a problem at all. So if you can find yourself someone who's already here, not just me, but anybody who's already here and knows the system a little bit, you're going to be in great shape. It makes it so much easier, because what took me about 6 weeks to get accomplished, I should have been able to do in 2 days. Knowing what I know now, I could do it in 2 days. No sweat, no problem. Now, as far as the details of getting a job and what a job means here, I'm going to do a separate video on that, because that's going to be really detailed and for me very interesting, because I deal with German labor law a lot now. As a manager, I deal with it a lot. So that video is going to come. I'm also going to do a video on health insurance coming up, because health insurance is very important. And I'll also do a video on how to get an apartment here, because getting an apartment is a complicated adventure, but totally doable. Unfortunately, your English is not going to help you there, because all of the advertisements for apartments are done in German, and you're absolutely going to need help on that. No problem. It's what I'm here for. So I hope I answered some of your questions in a general sense. I hope I was able to clarify some things. I understand that everybody's situation is different, and the solutions for me may not be the solutions for you, and you may have questions that don't pertain to me, but I find this whole area interesting. So if I can answer specific questions for you, by all means contact me and let me see what I can do. But generally speaking, I hope this gives you a good general encouragement to try to come over here and make a new life for yourself, because as I continually say, if you're not happy with your situation, do something about it. Nobody's going to change it for you. It's on you to change it. So until the next time we meet in the next video, which hopefully will only be in the next few days, let me wish you peace, joy, and love. Until next time, cheers.